Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is 3:28 a.m. and I just woke up like 15 minutes ago, something like that. I was sleeping so deep. The weird, vivid dreams are back. I don't know if it's that they're weird because, I don't know, they're just, like, they're not really that weird, I guess. So tonight I was having this dream, and I was, well, my first dream, where's my lip balm in here? My first dream was, I was like texting somebody about wanting to play guitar. Which I will say that throughout my life, I've had like I've wanted to play guitar. My mom played guitar, but she didn't play like guitar like all the time. But she played guitar when she was younger. And, okay, well here's the lip plumper, but that's not what I'm looking for. But I have my mom's, I have her guitar in the basement, of course, and I keep on pulling up the same thing. She could play anything. And I'd always she'd try to show me how to do stuff, and I'd be like, Mom, I'm so confused. And she'd say, it's so easy, it's just chords. It's just, the same three this or whatever. And I just could not get it to save my life. So anyway. There it is. So I was texting somebody in my dream though about, you guys already have your Diet Cokes, your Diet Pepsis ready? I was texting somebody, my hair looked much nicer earlier. I took a shower and did my hair and everything. But then I slept on it. It was like weird in my dream. Like, I remember exactly like what they were texting me, but I don't know, like, yeah, it was just like weird. And then Alex and I, we were like on a road trip or something, and it was real late at night. And it seemed like it was real late at night. And so we ran into this, like, it was like this strip mall. It was like this old strip mall. But it was all these food places. And it was the strip mall. It was Woodland Mall in Carmel that I used to go to when I was a kid. I know because this 31 Flavors was there. Baskin Robbins. But then like on the right hand side of the Baskin Robbins was like this door. And you could like go into it, and like if you like went back, there were like all of these different restaurants. And they were like packed, like, and then they had a couple tables at the front that you could sit in, but it was like packed. And oh, turn that down. Background, Johnny Cash. In the background, I'm listening to the 50s station. And then, so I went to this one, I can't remember where I went first, but they were all like yelling out, all the people that, it was like all these women that worked behind these stations, and they were like, and so like you would go up and it would be like these rows and rows and rows of like, it was like a cafeteria, but it was like just right in front. So it would be like 10 feet across and then like 4 rows down. So like the buffet was like these rows down. And I went to like this Italian place, and I was like trying to pronounce that gnocchi. You know what I'm talking about? Because I love that stuff. And she kept on correcting me, and I was like, well, that, okay, but that's what I want. And I was like, with 2 pieces of extra bread. And She was like, we're closing it. And she kept on saying, we're closing at 8:30. We're closing at 8:30. So then I tried to find a table outside because I like knew Alex would want to sit outside, but it was like cold and it was rainy. And so then I came back inside and all the tables were gone and I couldn't find my phone. It was like this real weird thing. And then I was talking to this girl and she was working at this one place. And she was talking about, they were all taking like a business trip, like the restaurant, like all the people that worked there. And nobody wanted to like share a bed with this one girl or sleep in a room with this one girl or something like that. And she was like, what do you think? She kept on asking me, she was like, well, what do you think? You think I should share a bed with her or a room? Because then we're gonna go to, she kept on saying the Flamingo. And I was like, or she kept on saying Flamingo. And like in my dream, I knew that like that was like the next trip they were going on. And I'm sitting there trying to eat my food and I was like trying to get a hold of Alex. And they were like in the dream she was going to like New York City, but then like they were taking another trip like in a month and they were going to like Vegas. But she kept on saying Flamingo. And I would say, do you mean like Las Vegas? And she'd say, yeah. But then if I room with her in New York, I won't have to room with her in Flamingo. And I was like, do you mean that? I kept on saying, do you mean Las Vegas? And she was like, yeah. And then I was like, and you're staying at the Flamingo? And she'd look at me and she'd say, no, I didn't say that. She was real weird and rude. And I like couldn't figure out what was going on in my dream. And then I just like woke up and I was holding on to Tucker's foot, which was real funny. I don't know why that has anything to do with it, but, they've done all these studies saying that people are having like real weird dreams right now while all this is going on in the world, which is obviously true because I am, and I'm the only person that matters. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I just looked over that Fazoli's and I was like, I think it was Fazoli's in my dream. It totally wasn't Fazoli's because it was like this catering like place or something. They had these big like, you know, aluminum containers of like pasta and stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm craving pasta. That would be a real surprise, wouldn't it? I'm always craving something. I had Burger King for dinner tonight and it was delicious. And I don't regret it one bit. By the way, those jalapeno cheddar bites they have right now at Burger King are so good. Get ranch and dip them in ranch, trust me. They have ranch at Burger King. They are so good. Maybe I'll review those tomorrow for my review channel. I've already had them twice though. There was something else I was gonna say. Today for my review channel, I went to Dairy Queen and I reviewed the cotton candy dipped cone, and oh my god, it was so good. And the other thing, I didn't remember this until after I got done recording, or I would have shared it, but I couldn't remember what I used to get when I was a little kid. And it was like, they came like I think they were pre-dipped. And they were like stars and stuff. I see if somebody in the comment section remembers what I'm talking about. They were called something. They had a name. But that's what I always got at Dairy Queen when we would go there as a kid. I can't remember what they were called, but I think they were like pre-dipped or something. Or maybe they dipped them while we were there. I don't know. But, so when you like dip a cone, it has like the hard shell, you know, on top of it. And I've been meaning to stop at the post office like all week and haven't. Like, I went one day this week, but it was like early last week, I think. But I'm not gonna stop tonight because there's somebody parked there, and that always freaks me out to go in there late at night when somebody's there. I'll go down here a little bit longer. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, I remembered when I was going through there, like afterwards I remembered I used to get a butterscotch dipped cone. And they're so delicious. They're so good. Dairy Queen's pretty good. I forgot all about it until I went through there. Their food is actually really, really good. One night, Melissa and Alex and I, Jason, Melissa's husband, I think, was out of town, and it was like in the summer. I believe it was, and we went through Dairy Queen. I mean, we got so much food. We got like loaded fries. We got chili cheese dogs. This was way before I was a vegetarian. We got like chili cheese dogs. We got so much crap, and it was so good. Remember, we sat at her table and we ate and laughed, and she's got like this marble table in her kitchen. And it has like you know, one of those, like a bench on it on one side and then 2 chairs, and it was fun. And we watched some scary movie. I can't remember what we watched, but we used to go see movies with them all the time. Like, that's one of the things I really miss, is not being able to go to movies. And I have to say, like, I was reading this article today because I wanted to look it up. I drove by my pool. They haven't even started opening the pool yet. And our pool, like, to open is for them like a 2-week process to clean it out, to load the water, to get all the chemicals in it, to heat it. It's like a 2-week process. Well, like, we pay specifically for our pool. It's part of our homeowners association fee, and I'm gonna throw a fit if they don't open a pool, at least, and put some boundaries around it, like, you know, like, or at least give us an option. Like, I looked, I have no email from them. I don't know what's going on. I've like tried to ask some other people in the neighborhood, and nobody knows what's going on with the pool. So, like, I mean, if they said like we absolutely can't have the pool open because of A, B, and C, but I looked, and Indianapolis pools are opening. Some public kind of pools are opening, and they're putting boundaries aside, and you have to set, like, there's social distancing at the pool, and they have like certain chairs in place or something. And the CDC has come out, I guess, and said that they don't think that this can be transferred through chemically treated water. They said that in the CDC. That's just what I read today on the article that was like a local legal article. And our governor actually moved up our phase. Like, he sped it up 2 days, so that, because I think phase 3 was supposed to start on Monday, but he moved it to Friday so that people could go out and do a lot of stuff this weekend. But like, if they're not going to give us the pool for the summer, then I think that they should at least reduce our HOA fees, because that's a huge part of, I think, why I pay these outrageous HOA fees. Whatever. I'm not, that's a losing battle right there. I know, before I even get into it, you know? But like, the other thing is that they're real strict on like us not being able to have like blow up pools and stuff. Like, in our yard, like, we're not allowed to do any of that kind of stuff. We're not even allowed to have grills in our patio. Like, they're really, really strict with like the certain things that we're allowed to do and not do. And I thought the grill thing was for like fire hazard reasons, but it's not. It's because they can't control the look of, well, our backyards look into the woods. Like, nobody sees us back there, right? And like, I'm getting a blow-up pool. Like, I am. Like, I'm getting one of those 3x10 blow-up pools that I can lay in the summer and lay out if we don't have a pool. I'm gonna have it back there and just put on the music and hang out back there. I've been listening to so much music lately. I've been listening to the 50s, I told you this, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and Pop 2K. My favorite channels are the 70s and 80s. And like, on the 80s, they just count down certain years. They're like on 1988 right now, and it's George Michael, One More Try, which I don't, do I know that song? And then the oh shoot, I just went to the, and then the 70s, Village People, and the Navy, In the Navy. I like that song, it's from 1979. I liked the Village People when I was growing up. I'm sure that's a big surprise to you guys. Talked to Mel for a long time on the phone today. I didn't film my other videos. I got up late and there really wasn't a whole lot going on drama-wise. And I just kind of wanted to relax. So, what was I gonna say? I talked to Mel for a long time on the phone today. I talked to her on the way to and from my review video. And then, did I talk to anybody else? I talked to a couple other friends. No, that's about it. Didn't really do a whole lot. Our air conditioning was set at 70. It's hot in Indiana. Like, it's like, today I think it was like 84, 85. It was warm. It's not super humid though yet. It's really interesting. Like, you know, usually Indiana like gets hot and humid real quick, but it's not yet. It's kind of like, it's warm, but it's just kind of like the stagnant warmness. And like during the day, like the wind's not moving much. And so it's just hot, you know? I don't mind it, but it's just hot. Obviously, I like it much better than when it's like, you know, 10 degrees. And I actually don't mind like the 10 degree weather either, if we would just get snow with it. Like this winter, we didn't have any snow. It was just cold, you know? So it was real warm today. Alex laid out a little bit on the back patio. I'm gonna try, if it's like nice throughout the week, I'm gonna maybe try to lay out one day, get some sun on my face. And oh, what else? I was gonna say something about the weather. I don't remember what I was gonna say. Last night, oh, I know I was going to talk about, this is totally, well, I just wanted to mention this because before somebody goes and, I'm already feeling bad if somebody has gone and purchased it, but I'm like, well, I have like an hour left. I think there's 2 hours total left of Skinwalker Ranch book, Hunt for the Skinwalker. Don't buy it, it's horrible. I can already tell you I'll be giving it to there's way too much research for me to just give it 1 star, but the book is completely boring, and I don't think has any basis in truth whatsoever. Basically, the only interesting part of the whole book is at the very beginning, when the people that buy the farm, they have all of these paranormal experiences, all these experiences that they think are possibly UFOs, and like, you know, like reading it, when I was reading it, I kept on questioning, like, it's all of these experiences that kind of like don't match, like a Bigfoot, and then like this huge wolf-like creature, and then like a UFO, and then these darting UFO lights, and then like ghost kind of things. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it was all vampires or it was all this. It was like all these different things, and it just like, it collectively didn't make sense. Like, okay, how are they going to explain this underneath like one realm? And so then this National Institute of Discovery Science, they like go and they stay there for 8 years, and they really find nothing in 8 years, even though in the matter of 1 year, 1997, this family that lived there like witnessed so much stuff. And then they try to isolate it to that it was just because it was 1997, that year must have been like the year that all this stuff happened there, or possibly it was because like the guy that owned the ranch, he said like they moved like a trailer onto the ranch and they were like observing it, and he was like, now nothing's gonna happen because you guys are here and they know your presence. And I'm like, what? And they didn't see really anything. There were like a few things they saw that could have been totally explained away. And so this whole book is literally like the first 10th is about this family that moves in there and what they experience, and the rest of it is just stupid. And I'm so over it. I'm like so bored of this book, and I just want it to get over with. And the thing is that this is where I get into a reading slump, because I get bored with a book, and then I'm like, okay, like I've got to just get done with this book. I've got to just get done with this book. And But then, like, I don't want to listen to it because it's so bad. So today, I just, like, any chance I had it on so I could just get through it and just finish it. I actually really want to listen to, because I read the other ones, I didn't listen to them, the Hunger Game books, but the new Hunger Game book came out, and it's like a prequel, I think, about snow, and it's the Songbirds one. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? But I really want to listen to that. It's like 16 or 18 hours long, though. I actually might buy that and listen to that before the end, because then that would be like one more book to get in this week. Because I'll finish this book tonight. And then I also want to get Broken People by Sam Lansky, and that comes out, I think, next week or the week after. And it is, so Sam Lansky wrote a book called Razor, something, The Gilded Razor. And I don't know how I found out about Sam Lansky. I follow him on Instagram now. And he's young. He's like probably 24, 25, I think. Maybe a little bit. Maybe he's older than that. Maybe he's like 30. I don't know. But he wrote this book about his experience, like, getting sober. And he came from, like, an upper middle class family. His mom lived, I believe, in Washington State, and his dad lived in New York City. And I remember reading this book. We were on some trip when I read it. It's very dark. It's very depressing. But it's really, really a good it's a memoir. And it's sad because it's like him from a very young age. And if you read it, I will tell you, it's very explicit about things that he basically does for drugs. And but it was such an honest and raw, like, account of his addiction and, like, how he got sober, and then he went to this treatment program. There's like a couple treatment programs he goes to, if I remember correctly. So this is his first work of fiction, and it's called Broken People, and it's already getting hailed. Like that book, like, got tons and tons of attention. Like Oprah, like Time Magazine voted it like best debut of the year, stuff like that. It was good, but I will tell you, if you read it, like, it was really good. It was a memorable book, but if you read it, just know that it's, like, dark. Like, it's not just a easy breezy read. And then this is his first work of fiction, and it comes out, I think, like June 4th or June 11th or something. And then Hank Green, John Green's brother, the sequel to his book, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, which is probably one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life. The sequel to that comes out in July, and I'm really, really ready for that. There's a lot of books that are coming out this summer that I'm excited about. So yeah, it's gonna be a reading summer. I was getting tired so early. It's like, I told Alex that tonight. I said, I don't know what's going on with me. It's like, I'm so tired so early. It's like, I'm sleeping late, but then, like, I'm still sleeping late. But then I'm so tired, like, all day long. Like, I don't know what the problem is. Where am I at on time? I listened, all right, yeah, last night, well, let me tell you something, first of all, about these bird feeders. I was so put out by this. Alex was laughing at me because I got really upset, but I wanted to go to the post office, and that person's still there. So I'm so excited, right? So I come in last night from vlogging, whatever, like, okay, so what I do is I go, like, now I know why I wasn't getting my vlog up earlier. It's because I would drive around, and then I would go home, and then I would upload, or I would render my vlog, and then I would go to bed. So it still had to upload the next day. Whereas when I was sitting in the driveway, because last night I caught up with my Words with Friends games, because I just listened to my audiobook from the driveway last night. Then I render it, and then in iMovie, and then I go back in when I'm done listening to my audiobook, and then I start uploading it as I'm going to sleep. So last night, I wanted to eat some of my leftover pizza, because why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? I keep on thinking it says a certain time, and I'm like, I can't figure it out. So anyway, I'm like basically at this point needing my reading glasses for everything that's within this distance, which is such a bad part of getting older. It's like, it just, all of a sudden it creeps up on you. It's like, okay, now I definitely need reading glasses like all the time. But, so, what was I gonna say? So anyway, I really, oh, this is totally off the subject, but I really want this really cool reading glasses called Caddis, C-A-D-D-I-S, but they're like $90. And I feel like I could get them and then just have them for like when we go out to eat or things like that, for like the menu, you know? I don't know, I'm thinking about doing that. Because I have to have my reading glasses for like all the time, you guys, anymore. It's like really bad. And I have to have like a pair in the kitchen. Now I totally understand why my dad has like a pair in literally every room. And he has those like little half ones that are real cheapies. I have real cheapies too that you can just get on Amazon, but I like them. But now I know why he has a pair in every room, because you have to have a pair in every room. And I have a pair in the kitchen, and I have a pair next to the computer, and I have a pair next to my bed, and I have a pair in the bathroom, because you can't trim your fingernails or anything without them. I mean, you guys, literally, it's like, and I don't know if part of it is, I'll tell myself this so that it doesn't make me feel so old, but that I got the more intense contacts the last time, because she told me, if we go up, yes, your contacts, things will be sharper for you. I went from 2.5 to 2.75. She was like, things will be sharper for you. She said, but do you have to get your contacts, do you have to get an eye exam every year? Am I ready for an eye exam already? I feel like I was just there. So anyway, my God. But she, you know, she was like, we can go up to 2.75 and it'll make things sharper, but you're going to definitely need your reading glasses for like everything that you're reading. I'm like, great. But anyway, that was, you know, so now I'm having to wear reading glasses for everything. So if you need to have reading glasses for everything, you kind of want to have like, you know, cute reading glasses, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's totally off the subject, but I went out. I was getting my frozen pizza out, and I was like, oh, I wonder if like the birds or anything ate off their bird feeder last night, or if they're gonna, because they usually come in the morning. And I went out there. I mean to tell you, I stood there in the window and I was like, what the F? I was so upset, you guys. I stood there, and like one of those, it was the one to the left, it was like the apple suet thing. And I was looking on my vlog too from the night before, and somebody, or like today, and somebody already mentioned it, and they said, well, somebody told me not to get those kinds because they'll melt in the summer, and then somebody else said, be careful because like animals will come and get them or whatever. True story, I didn't even have that thing out there 12 hours, okay? And some animal came in the middle of the night and took the whole thing. The whole thing. It's gone. There's like no scraps around the edge. I mean, they literally just like went in, pulled it out, and it's gone. And I was pretty sure it was a raccoon. And Alex was like, yeah, I think it was a raccoon. And I'm talking to Mel on the phone. She's like, well, I think maybe it was like the squirrel. I'm like, girl, our squirrels are small around here, you know? So anyway, I was like, oh my God. It's all gone, this suet. I was like, and I didn't even get to see birds or anything. So then I got my frozen pizza out, and I was sitting there. And no birds or squirrels came up this morning to it either, was the other thing. I was kind of real upset about that, but I don't know why, but they weren't. But then when Alex got up, he said that it was all gone, so they must have eaten it sometime this morning. I think our squirrels sleep in till like 9. And now they don't have to spend their entire day looking for food because they know that they're just going to have it right there on their picnic table. They probably it doesn't take them that long, you know what I mean? But anyway, so then they can sleep in, and then they can come in and they can fill their stomachs. They can come and fill their tummies with all the food, the delicious food, and then they can go back to sleep. And that's what my squirrels are doing this summer. They're having a peaceful summer. But anyway, okay, so I was gonna get on, I couldn't find that show Hightown, and I was looking for it everywhere, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that I saw that it was like on It stopped. Okay, I was like, I'm pretty sure that it said it was on HBO, and I couldn't see it on anywhere. We have HBO. We have every stupid channel in the entire world. I don't know why. But anyway, so, I Googled it, and it said that it was on Amazon Prime. So I got on Amazon Prime, and I was going to watch that Hightown show. But then it was like shows that are recommended to you. And there was this one, and it was called Cherry Grove, I think. Stories from Cherry Grove, or Stories from Cherry something. It's on Amazon Prime. And I was like, what is this about? So I read it, and it was about this area of Fire Island in New York. So if you don't know what Fire Island is this island off of like New York City that I think people can take like a ferry to and stuff, and it has been predominantly gay since like the 50s, and it's like been shown in a lot of movies, like in Longtime Companion. They went out to Fire Island in the summers, and in that movie, it was actually an HBO made-for-TV movie with Mark Ruffalo and Julia Roberts, and it was about the gay men's health crisis in New York City, and Mark Ruffalo has AIDS at the end of it, and they go out to Fire Island. They have like a house in the Pines, and there's different areas of Fire Island. So one of the areas is called Cherry Grove, I guess, which is what this movie is about. And they go and they interview all of these people that have spent like every summer there for like the last 40, 50 years. And it's just like this incredible testimony, you know, like, I am a believer as a gay man that, like, I should know my history. And so I really enjoy watching documentaries about gay history. It's like, that's enjoyable to me, because I feel as if, you know, like, I feel like it's important for me to know my history and those that came before me and paved the way. Although a lot of these people in this documentary are my age, and younger. Some of them are younger, but it was really interesting because, like, it really went into like how like the mystery behind Fire Island. There were supposedly like these pirates, and then how people originally got there, and how it turned into like this gay place, and the drag shows. They're real famous for their drag shows and their tea parties that they did, and it just was fun watching it. I didn't finish the whole thing. I've got like half of it. I can only make it through about half a movie anymore. So I watched that, and yeah, and then I went to bed, and then I'm having such a hard time falling asleep in the evening. Did I talk to Caroline today? I think I talked to Caroline. Was it today I talked to her? Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, so if you want to watch something good, Cherry Grove or something like that on Amazon Prime. The Stories of Cherry something is what it's called. I was like, I need to start checking this out more, and I need to start watching more TV. And then I was talking to an old friend of mine. He posted a picture on Facebook, and I was like, what is this movie? I've seen it. And he's hilarious, and he loves old movies like I do. Like, we love everything from, like, I'm trying to think of a movie that we would kid about. I mean, we love old movies, and we're always quoting lines from, like, you know, old movies, all the way to, like, 90s movies. But typically I would say, like, a good 70s, late 70s, early 80s movie is something that we really love. But he put this video clip up, and I was like, I know this movie, but what is this from? And so I texted him, and I was like, This is my friend that lives in Denver. And I was like, girl, what was that video that you posted last night with Frances McDormand? And he was like, he texted me back. He was like, girl, Frances McDormand was not in the fight, or I don't know who you are talking about in that picture. I was like, I swore it was Frances McDormand. And he said, have you never seen the fight? I was like, I've never seen the fighter. He goes, with Christian Bale, you've never seen it? He was like, you need to see it. So I need to see that. That's on my list. My list of movies that I want to watch is just getting longer and longer and longer. Oh my God! There was a sign up there for Kincaid's Meat Market. It was so weird because I was thinking of my aunt, because my aunt kept a list of like movies she wanted to see, and she used to always, like, for every holiday she would go to Kincaid's. I guess it's off of Illinois Street. I didn't know that. I thought it was in Carmel. She used to go to this Kincaid's Meat Market, and it had like supposedly like the best meat in Indianapolis. And my aunt used to make some do you ever just read these religious billboards? Like, you know, I'm a spiritual person, so, but like this one says, worried, Jesus offers security. Like, I just wonder, like, who drives down the street and they see that, and then all of a sudden, like, that's what changes it for them. Like, if it does, I think that's fantastic. Like, I hope that it helps you, you know, whatever way you find your spiritual beliefs or your religious beliefs or faith or whatever. But I would think that would be like a lot of money to put into a billboard with very little outcome. I mean, and it doesn't say anything on there. There's no church or anything, you know? I don't know, like, do certain churches allow so much money a year for billboards? Because I feel like in Indiana, we have a lot of religious billboards. I used to work with this girl, and we used to come up with, like, this woman I used to work with, but we would talk about jobs that we would think, like, we thought would be really fun. And, like, if what you made across the board was going to be the same amount, like, no matter if you were, like, you know, CEO of some company or you worked in, like, a slushy shack, you know what I mean? Like, you'd make the same amount of money across the board. And I remember she used to always, she would start talking about wanting to be the person that wrote the sayings on the boards in front of churches. And she was a religious person. She was like a diehard Catholic. But she got me laughing so hard. And we would start coming up with these sayings. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like how in front of churches, like, it'll say something like, don't wait till Sunday. God can save your soul every day of the week. You know what I mean? Like, they always have, like, these funny sayings. And Tanya and I, okay, I had to stop it because I started saying the name of it. But our home group meeting on Tuesday nights is at a church, as our many, you know, 12-step meetings. And, so when the church that we go to for the meeting, it does have those, and they're very comical. And I think that they're almost like the church that we go to, like, for the meeting, it's kind of a it kind of has, like, it's very new. Like, there's always like new, not new agey, I wouldn't say, but like they do like a lot of like big like movie show. It's a big church, right? And they do a lot of like movie premieres and that are kind of like religious movies. Not really, but like have some kind of nice meaning to them or something. I don't know, but they do a lot of stuff, and they do a lot of like conventions, and I mean probably not now, but you know what I mean. So anyway, they're always doing kind of like new kind of stuff. And so in front they always have this sign, and it changes every week, and it'll say something on it. And Tanya and I always, like, as we pull it, because we pull into the left, it's always to the right, and we both read it in unison out loud. We like say that it's like what we're supposed to be practicing in our lives in that moment. But yeah, she and I, that woman I used to work with, I wonder where she's at today. She kind of became not so nice over the years. I think some people, I think like, they think there's a life that they should live. I'm really kind of talking about her, but I'm talking about a lot of people, because I feel like a lot of people fit this, and I feel like maybe I did, at least to some degree too, at times, where you feel like there's this life that you're supposed to fit in, right? And you're supposed to, you know, like, have a house. Maybe you don't even really want a house. Maybe you enjoy living in an apartment, or maybe you enjoy renting, you know, but you're supposed to have a house. Like, everybody tells you, oh, you should have a house. Like, you're putting too much money in to renting something. Like, you should, you know, you would get more equity if you rented a house. And so then, you know, everybody, and houses equal success, and, you know, to have a house in a nice neighborhood with a nice yard means success, and a nice kitchen, and then, you know, you want to get this job and that job, and then you want to have the kids, and then you want the kids to be involved in this school. And I remember she was like it was very much like, my kids have to go to this daycare, and she would almost kind of say it like condescending to people that didn't do it. And she was never like that, like, before she got married, before she started having kids. But it was very much like her life got more and more and more and more rigid, to the point where I think she was really kind of bitter towards people that were able, and I'm just using her as an example, because like I've said, in my life, I've known a lot of people like this that are kind of bitter because they've done what they were told to do all their lives. And I did this for a long time. You know, it's like, well, I did what I was like, I had the job, I had the this, I had the that, you know, and at the end, I realized I was really not any happier because that's not really what I wanted. I wasn't really living the life of my dreams. I wasn't really living the life that I wanted to live. You know, for a while it was, but we change as people, and we grow, and we become different people, and I think what our needs are over time changes. You know, like, I don't know. You know, I'm coming up on 50. 50! And I like to kick! But I'm coming up on 50. And what means something to me today is different than what something meant to me at 40 and 30. But I think also, like, my attainment of it is for different reasons. You know, like, today, I feel blessed to get up every day. And I really have always been able to do this, you know? I mean, my dad told me from, you know, like a very young age, do what you love and the money will follow. And if the money doesn't follow, at least you're doing what you love. And I do believe that, because there are times that I made, like, crap money. Absolute just crap money. And didn't care. You know, and that was the other thing, like, it didn't matter to me, because, like, the poorest I've been in my life sometimes, I didn't care, because I had everything I needed. You know, like, I remember being with my first boyfriend, and especially when we were sharing an apartment with my friend who now lives in Germany, you know, like, we, like, on a weekend, we didn't ever go to, like, high-end restaurants. I don't even remember going out to eat a lot with him, in all honesty. Like, if we traveled, it was because my dad and my stepmom took us somewhere, and we did take some nice trips. We traveled a lot with them. But I don't remember going out to eat a lot with Like, he and I just going out to eat. I don't remember that. I remember us getting pizza every once in a while. I remember, like, the three of us watching a movie and getting chips and salsa and candy and stuff. I remember us going to the pool a lot because we had a pool at that apartment that we loved. I remember us working out a lot. I mean, I just don't remember it being about... We just didn't spend a lot of money at all. And it got real cold in here all of a sudden. And I don't know. And I was, you know, the happiest. And that was probably the point in my life when I was making the least amount of money. And I just did not care at all. I remember, like, our bills for a month, we split right down in half. And between he and I, that was when we lived in the apartment, just the two of us at the end. And I remember rent, utilities, cable, cell phones, everything. Came to like under $1,000 a month. Like, that's crazy to me when I look at that today. But those were the days, my friend. Now I turn the heat on and the entire front is... But I think having all that stuff is completely fine. You know, like, I love my dogs. I love my house. I love just spending time with my husband and all that stuff. But if that's not what you want, like, I remember having conversations with her and some other people where they just were not happy. Like, that was not what they wanted. You know, and they would say things like, oh, I have this stupid house, and I thought it's... You know, I always wanted this house, and now that I have it, it's just so much work. They would say things like that, you know, or like, I don't even get to have a weekend to myself because Judy's got softball and Johnny's got baseball, and we're just running, and then she's got ballet, and he's got swim. And, you know, it's just... But then they also, like, switch that on and off, and they want you to know, like, they don't do it because of their love for all of it. They do it because they feel like they have to meet that or something. I don't know. Like, and then it kind of comes out and, like, they become kind of bitter people, you know? I don't know, I've met a lot of people in my life that are kind of miserable, and they have such, you look at their life on the outside, and it's like they seemingly have such wonderful lives. You know, they have beautiful homes, and their kids have great things that they're participate in, and go to cool schools, and, you know, they take a, you know, family trip once a year. But they're, like, always the ones that say to me, they'll be like, I don't, you know, like, their husband and them haven't been, like, out of town together, and, like, we haven't been out of town together in 8 years without the kids. We'll take a trip without the kids for a weekend, you know? Get grandma and grandpa to babysit, or, you know? So, I don't know. I think, or go on a date night, you know, or whatever. I think it's important to do all that stuff to keep the romance alive. I really, really do. I'm now trying to balance out these windows to get all this. The windshield from whatever it's doing. I remember she used to put out these Christmas cards that were so perfect, too. she was the one that always told me whenever I would complain about being heavy, she would say, eat less, move more. And I always wanted to say, if you think that it's as simple as all of that for me, then we've got bigger problems. Isn't it funny how, like, when you work with people, like, you work with such a collective group of people, right? And, like, I worked with, like, the same 10 people for, like, the majority of my career working in treatment. Like, it was the same 10 people for, 13 years. And I can remember for a really, really long time, like, she was somebody who, no wonder it's not clearing up, because it's not even going on the windshield. I was like, why is that cold right in my face? But for a long time, she was somebody whose approval I really sought. Like, I look back, and I like, a lot of what I did was because I wanted her to be proud of me or impressed with me or whatever, And I've had a lot of relationships with women like that I've worked with, where, especially if she wasn't my supervisor, she was like she was like on this, we were at the same level, but she was very, very close with my supervisor. And so I sought her approval, and she also was 2 years older than me. And so when I started there, she was really influential in training me and helping me. And I just always wanted her approval. And, she came across as very mature and really understanding of everything, And I can remember one time talking to somebody that I worked with, and they were like, why do you care what she thinks? And I had no answer. I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I am not fighting this defrost for this entire summer. I'm just not gonna do it. But it was around that time that I kind of did stop, looking for her. It wasn't, I wouldn't say validation or approval. It was her stamp of good job. That's what I was always looking for, And, I actually worked with my supervisor for a long time. It's complicated because the whole system that I worked under, it all changed, and then her role changed. But before that, she was fantastic with us as far as a supervisor praising our work and taking us out to lunch as teams. And we were a small team, and she was really, really great at acknowledging that. And she was also a supervisor that, I remember the day I started, and it was really busy, and she was I remember she looked at me and she said, are you new? And I said, yeah, I just started today. And she said, come with me. And she was the director of all programming. Okay, it wasn't she was a tech or just a lead counselor even. She was the director at that time of all programming. And she goes, come with me. And I said, okay. And so, and it was 7 o'clock at night, and she was supposed to, I had stood there and watched her try to get out of the place for 2 hours. And so we walked down the hall, and she we had these sheet racks that we could grab a bottom sheet, a top sheet, and a pillowcase and a pillow. And she said, come on. And so we went in this room, and we were she goes, we're gonna change these beds. And because they were just blank mattresses, and we were putting sheets and stuff on it. And I said to her when we were walking out the room, I said, you're the director of the program. I said, and you're making beds. And and she said, we we were slammed with admissions tonight, and she looked at me and she goes, if beds need to be made, beds need to be made. It doesn't matter who I am. And I learned so many valuable lessons from her, you know. It's just like humbling yourself that, like, you're never too good to make a damn bed, okay? Like, let's just be for real. You're never too good to make a damn bed. And that shows you where I was at that point. But I learned a lot from her, you know. And I learned a lot from the woman that I was saying, you know, before, like, her life just in a box looked, the person I was talking about before, not my supervisor, because she'd be the first one to admit that she probably had kind of like, her life was all over the place, but she managed, you know. She was like the breadwinner of her family, and she, you know, always picked up her girls, and she had dinner on the table by 6 o'clock and was doing homework, and because her husband was like, worked like really, you know, all over hours, and she did it all. I can remember, I worked with a lot of women that it's so empowered in that, like, they literally did it all. Like, and I just didn't know how they did it sometimes. Tanya's the same way, you know, and it's just so impressive to me, you know, that, I don't know, but the woman that I sought a lot of approval and validation from, she just always seemed to have this picture perfect life, right? But then when I started to realize was that she wasn't, I don't think, very happy, maybe. I don't know. I hope she was, you know. I remember having a real deep conversation. I mean, it's been so long since I even worked at that place or talked to these people. I mean, I literally have not talked to them in 12 years, you know. But I remember talking to her one day and being like, saying that, like, you just don't seem real happy to me. And her she's like, no, I'm happy. Like, she was trying to convince herself of that. I don't know. And I don't know what the answer to that is, you know, like, I mean, if my cousin called me tomorrow and said, you know, my cousin's very much like that, you know, Caroline, I mean, she's somebody that has the house with she has a literal white picket fence, you know, like, I mean, she has that house, she has that life and everything, you know, and then she loves her neighbors, and she loves to have wine with the neighbors and do all that kind of stuff, you know. Caroline is that person, and honestly, I probably would be that person, you know? But like, if Caroline came to me tomorrow and she said, like, this is never what I wanted, and I was like, well, what do you mean? And she was like, well, I mean, I never wanted this. I wanted to be like a painter in Paris and, you know, live alongside the river and stay up late and dance and drink hot, you know, espresso. And I think I'm going to leave everything. I would be the first person that would say to her, be very careful. Don't give away everything you've worked so hard to have. Because maybe it means more to you than you think it does. I think sometimes that, like, kind of like, you know, with my first boyfriend, I was saying we didn't really do a lot. We went out a lot. We did go out a lot, I remember. And then with my second boyfriend, we never went out at all. And we were just total homebodies, you know? And then it's like with Alex and I feel like I have the mix of all of these lives that I've wanted, you know, that, listen, you guys, I wish you could, do you see the wind? You want to see the windshield? Look how bad this is. And I cannot fix it to save my life. But with Alex, it's like I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And no, it's not perfect by any means. But I feel like I'm finally where I want to be in my life. Not the entirety of the marriage. It's taken me a long time to get here and be happy. You know what I mean? But, like, I don't know. with my ex, I said to my mom one time, this is towards the end, and I said I wasn't happy. And she said, be very, very careful. She said, weeds grow fast in a garden, and before you know it, the weeds have taken over. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she said, just be very careful. She's like, once you start looking for the things you don't like, she's like, that's all you'll see after a while. And then you'll just want out. And I don't know if that's what happens, but I do think that that plays to some degree. I think I knew I wasn't happy. We hadn't been happy for a while. And I think I was looking for reasons out, as was he later. You know, he told me, when it would have been much easier for us just to sit down and have a conversation and say, I'm not happy. And for him to say, I'm not happy either. And for us to say, so do we want to go and try to fix this with a counselor, or what do we want to do? You know? Which, thank God, Alex and I did have that conversation. But my ex and I didn't. But I don't regret that. Anything that happened the way that it did. We had a great relationship. We had a lot of great moments. I think one of the reasons why Alex and I are able to have the relationship that we have today is because we both brought baggage into this relationship, yes, from past relationships, but we also had learned in our past relationships how to be better people in relationships. And I think that it's sad to say that, you know, maybe it'll take 10 relationships to get there, but maybe for some people it will, I don't know. But that the more relationships you go through, if you do take time to, and not just romantic relationships, but whatever, you know, the more relationships you've been in, you take a look at your part in that and who you are, and, you know, what did I learn from this, and who do I want to be in the future, and who do I not want to be, and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to turn this off and see if that helps. I think that, you know, like once Alex and I were able to sit down and kind of look at, like, these are the things that he had done in his relationship previously that he wasn't proud of, and he had conversations. We had conversations about it, and I did, you know, I did as well, and said these are the things that I wish I had done differently, or I wish I had taken more accountability, you know, throughout the entirety of the relationship, or I wish I would have done this or done that, you know, or set better boundaries, or whatever it was that would have made it a healthier relationship. I mean, Alex and I had those conversations, and so we were able to, and that was long before counseling, you know, we were able to sit down and look at, well, these are the things that we're bringing in here that are healthy or not necessarily healthy or whatever, that we hope that they, you know, add to the relationship. Okay, this window thing is not working. This is so bad tonight. Can somebody please explain to me what to do with my windshield? Because I cannot deal with this all summer long. Anyway, you know, it's kind of sad. I think about this sometimes. It's like 13 years I worked with the same people, and you know, like the woman I was talking about, if I, you know, she and I were very much like brother and sister. I think that was a lot of it when we, like, worked together. People used to laugh and say that about us. And do you remember me telling the story about how I was in the restaurant one time and we were both getting our master's degrees, and it was like a Sunday, and I think we were at Patashu, and I was eating with some friends, and she was, I don't know what I just said, but anyway, we were at Patashu, and it was the old Patashu on Illinois Street, and there that worked for a little while at least, blow the heat up. And she was with some of these friends that she was like in a study group with. I know that because she told me that later. She was like, I was in a study group. Like, that was embarrassing. And I was with some friends and it was like a Sunday. And and it was packed in there. And it was loud, you know? And I like waved over to her. I was like, hey, Judy. Like, her name's not Judy, but I was like, Judy, hey. Like that. And she she shushed me in the restaurant. She went like this. Like, we're the same age. She's 2 years older than me, okay? I was like humiliated. I was like, I sat down kind of like, seriously? And my friends were like, who is that? I'm like, this girl that I work with. Like, it was embarrassing, you know? And, like, she was embarrassed to see me or something. And, there were a lot of times like that. But, you know, I think, like, she and I worked together for 13 years. This guy and I worked together for 13 years at training to me. He was fantastic. And I'll say this too, like, I learned a lot about very religious people. Like, I worked with some people that, I mean, it was a field of social work, you know? I worked with some very religious people that never passed judgment on me ever, you know, welcomed my boyfriends with open arms, were just very nice, you know? My supervisor, worked with her all 13 years. Another woman, the one that hired me, I worked with her for 13 years. She's actually whose position I took when she left and went on maternity leave, and then when she came back in a different capacity, so I got her job. There were a lot of people that I worked with there for 13 years, and not just on our unit, but hospital-wide, nurses and doctors and things like that. And then there were a lot of people that I worked with for like 10 years and whatever. And, you know, consistently when I talk to people that like, we were a close team. We worked together. We went to like conferences and spoke together. I mean, it was a big, like, we were really close. We went to everybody's weddings and funerals and babies being born. And we were so involved with each other's lives, you know, that it's sad to me now. Like, when I call up somebody and I'm like, hey, do you ever talk to so-and-so? No. So-and-so, no. You don't talk to anybody? No. When I left, I left. And it's every person I talk to is the exact same way, you know? And I really, like, every once in a blue moon, like, if I have to call somebody for, like, I'll be like, oh, you know, like, I have a friend of mine that's, like, looking for, you know, ... I'll call somebody, because, like, everybody works in different fields now, you know? But the only one I really stay in touch with is the one that I saw at Erin's Halloween party. Like, I'll talk to her a couple times a year. But she and I were super, super close. Like, I trained her, and then she and I were, like, she worked under me, and then she and I were partners, too. So, like, she and I were super close. And she was actually, she was really implemental in me leaving, because she was, like, it stopped, and I didn't even know it was at the end. Anyway, I was saying, I don't know where I stopped, but I was talking about that I naively thought that I would work there until I retired, you know? And it just got to a point where it was like, it's time for me to go and do some other things. And, you know, I look back and I love that job. And I remember, you know, when I put in my resignation, and my supervisor and I just sat there and cried. And she's like, I can't imagine this program without you, you know? And she was like, but I understand. She's like, I've always been supportive of you. She was, you know? We had our differences through the years, but she was always supportive of me. And, but I look back, you know, and other than her, and she's in a completely different capacity now. She doesn't even work anywhere, you know, to do with that team whatsoever. And then the guy that trained me when I started there, he probably will retire from there, but like, he's been moved around 50 times, and he's doing something completely different. Out of That's it. Every other person that was part of our team doesn't work there anymore in any capacity whatsoever. None whatsoever. And I just think that's crazy, you know? I don't know, I just really guess I thought that we would all work there forever and ever together, you know? We had a lot of good times together working there. I kind of make fun of it and I joke about it, but we had a lot of good times. And they really meant a lot to me. I remember, you know, my mom passed away in May, and I left there the last week of January, and I hadn't seen any of them since. And when I stood up to give my eulogy at my mom's funeral, like, I looked out and they were all sitting there in a row, my whole team that I worked with, you know. And 13 years is a long time to work with people. I love those people, you know, even if they drove me crazy, sometimes I loved them. And that woman that I was talking about earlier that I always looked up to, that was like a sister to me, but like I always sought her approval, and she seemed so unhappy. She's the one that, I need to get a Kleenex in here, gave me this one meditation book about grief, not the one I usually read in my computerism thing, but another one, because her mother had passed away before. I don't know, it was just hard, you know, it was just, when you start looking back on your life and you look at where you spent long periods of your life, you know, and you think about it, and sitting here in my head, and I'm thinking about like how much has changed in the 12 years that Alex and I have been together, you know? And it's like, there were people that I was like dear friends with when I met Alex that I haven't talked to in years. Not because of that, just because they moved and they live cross country now, and we try to keep up the friendship, you know, but then it just was like, you know, calls every week, went to every other week, went to once a month, went to every 6 months. And there's people that I, just because I don't go out and do stuff with anymore, I don't see it all here in town. Friends of ours have gotten together and gotten married and had kids, and their kids are 6 and 7 at this point. You know, I mean, it's just crazy how time changes. And I don't know, I think life goes on, and I think whatever you pick, whether you pick that house with the picket fence, or you pick some wild life of traveling with a backpack over your shoulder, or somewhere in between, I think you got to be happy with whatever you pick in your life, because you only got one life, you know? This is it. Not a dress rehearsal. I was so happy when I started this, and now I'm kind of like looking back over my life tonight. I mean, I'm still happy, but I'm like looking back over my life, and I'm like, I don't know, it really, you know, it really does go quick. It's like, you know, that I love that song Don't Blink, that country song. But I can remember my mom loved that scene. And The Way We Were, if you've ever seen The Way We Were, with Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford, when he and his friend are out in that boat, that sailboat, and they're talking about like best year, you know, And I remember my mom said to me, like, when I was, like, older, we were talking about that movie, like, when I was, like, it must have been after I got sober. And she said, you'll look back on your life and you'll do that. And I can remember thinking that was such a weird concept, to look back on my life and be like, best year, best month, best week, you know, best day. But you do that. You know, you do start looking back on your life. You know, Tanya and I were talking the other night about her dad passed away. I didn't realize it was so similar. We'd never talked about the ages before. That Tanya's dad was 64 when he passed away. My mom was 64. And Tanya was 36. I was 35, turning 36. And I said, do you think that it affected you as far as, like, time slowing down? Like I want to stop time. Like, time's going too fast. She said, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we were talking about that, you know, and it's like, I think that when you lose a parent or you lose somebody in your life that's very important to you, depending on the age you are, I think it affects you differently. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was because of all the other changes that were going on in my life that year, you know, with, like, getting out of a relationship, leaving a career. But it was like, because I had already resigned before I knew my mom was sick. I resigned in December before we went to Gatlinburg that year for Christmas. And we didn't find out she was sick until the end of January, beginning of February. So I didn't know, you know, when I resigned. And actually, had I continued to be working the hours that I was working, there was no way that I would have been able to take care of her and see her. So it kind of turned into, like, a God thing. But, I don't know what happened to me at that age. I don't know, like, maybe it was, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that it happened at that age, you know, but it did something to me. Where I feel like life is going real fast, and I don't like it sometimes. And there's a lot of things I want to do, but there's a lot of things that I want to do that don't matter as much anymore, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's like you have all these hopes and dreams when you're younger, I think. And I still have a lot of hopes and dreams. There's a lot of places I want to go to and stuff like that that are on my bucket list. But there's a lot of places that were on my bucket list that now, if I never saw them, I'd be totally fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that, you know, I was thinking about my writing the other day, because my writing is so slow. It's like one week I'll write a lot, and next week I don't write anything, and, you know. And I was like, I was just kind of sitting there in my chair at my desk, and I was like, if you never wrote another book, would you be fine with that? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And I think it was more the fact that I wanted to write a book. Well, I did. And, you know, it's like, yes, I would love to write more books. I would love that to be, like, what I did, you know, all the time. But right now in my life, I'm really enjoying more making videos and listening and reading books. That, I think that's kind of what I enjoy more, and I would rather spend my time doing what I enjoy than forcing myself to do something that I don't know that I really care about the outcome of anyway right now. You know what I mean? I'm more obsessed with wanting to get my patio nice and watching my birds and squirrels than I am, like, needing to put out a book. Like, it's just not high on my priority list right now. And as sad as that may sound, like, when it becomes important to me again, it'll become important to me again. And until then, I'm not going to stress myself out about it. And right now, I'm just kind of enjoying being, you know, like, it's taken me so long to just get to the point where I, like, am loving just not doing anything. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice, but. All right, you guys, I need to get gas. I keep on forgetting to do this, but I'm gonna get off here now. I cannot believe Memorial Day weekend has come and gone. Isn't it usually the last weekend of the month of May? But anyway, happy Memorial Day weekend to you. And if you are a family of somebody that has served in the military, thank you. Or if you're somebody that served in the military, thank you for your service. And I hope you guys are all having an amazing Memorial Day weekend. I just got real hungry for potato salad. I don't know why. That's so funny. But that's something that's not because of Memorial Day weekend. But I hope you guys are having a great Memorial Day weekend. If you made it this far in the vlog, oh my God, the battery's gonna die. I don't think I can make it all the way through to the end with this battery, so I'm gonna have to change it. Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Okay, can you guys hear all the birds? They're all real hungry this morning. Anyway, if you guys made it this far in the vlog, thank you for watching. Give this video, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And please leave a blue heart in the comment section below for all the Wolfpack members out there. That's all of us that are just trying to get through life together, one day at a time. And leave a comment if you'd like. And please make sure that you're still subscribed to my channel, or if you aren't, please subscribe to my channel or my other channels. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans to make the most of your day. Do something fun today and exciting. Start a new TV show or movie, or read a book or something, or just spend time with your family or friends if you're able to do that, if you're able to see at least one or two people. And if not, and you're still somewhere where you're, supposed to be on lockdown, then please stay safe and healthy. And I don't know, watch a really good Netflix series. I would recommend The Killing. It's fantastic. And I haven't talked about that in a long time on here. So anyway, and do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it tomorrow or next week or a year from now or 10 years from now or 50 years from now or 20 years from now or 60 years or 69 years from now. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Look at yourself in the mirror every single day and say to yourself, I love you, and at least one positive affirmation like, you are valuable, you matter, you're important. Every night before you go to bed, look in the mirror and say, tomorrow is going to be, look in your mirror and say, I love you, but also say, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. And if I get off track, I can start my day over whenever I want. And when you get up tomorrow, look in the mirror and say, today is going to be an amazing day to be. Today, I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day today. And if I get off track, I can start my day over whenever I want. And, yeah. And what else? If you want to, like me, I do my daily prayers, meditations, and just talk to your higher power if you have one. If you don't, well, you can talk to the wind. And just meditate, sit outside for 5 minutes and just listen to the universe, or talk to yourself in your head and do some positive affirmations and make a gratitude list. You don't have to be a spiritual person to do a gratitude list. I'm going to say these are the things I'm grateful for today. And most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Just say, hey, I just wanted to let you know I was thinking of you, care about you. Also, practice random acts of kindness. But like I always say, don't tell anyone. Just do it because it's a nice thing to do. Put in some kindness and love and compassion out there into the world. And I wanted to see if Home Depot had any pretty plants. I don't know if they do. Pretty plants, pretty flowers, pretty. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Have some potato salad for me. I love you. Bye. Love ya.